with faith so crushed, and heart so broken too. A prayer alone, for words to carry true and tender fire, blowing hope on embers blue. Prayer alone that finds not answer from the skies, from the budding trees, from a lover's eyes full brimmed with care, nor well-meant charities. Answer never had from translated words or verses plain or sweet, or kind proverbs spoke by loving lips, nor whispered by birds. A prayer alone into one's deepest heart, as harpist walks alone, plays out their part in silent caverns alone and with their art. Solus thus to find solace, a neighbour met in solitude and carries no regret. Because maybe you'll discover there something that you never knew, something that you never knew other people knew, and they do know. The Harper in the second poem is a master musician living alone in their retreat in the forest, called to come and play by the king for a wedding. And the messenger is a young child who seems to hear something that perhaps they regret hearing, something of the adult world that they weren't ready for. So this one's called The Wedding Singers. The music and the master knew the darker notes and played them only to herself. Walking in the soft glade, strings beneath her guiding hand, kept a silence else. She let no one hear the quavering that music tells, but strummed it as the sage might put the bloody steel again into the wound to clove the rift it made and heal. Still less is hid than we would want, and only meek politeness held back the tears of the child, come seeking with a message from the king for music needed at a wedding feast. The child smiled, pleaded for her presence, and turned, small-minded head still reeling, at the black tinge reverberations and the feeling of what dark-edged thing. Wait, she said, since you are here, I have instruments and other weighty things for you to bear. Carrying the master's harp over forest ways, in restless apprehension, the child's hand strays across the strings, little light touches in the air. At times a random jangling, at others a sweet trill, fair amongst the leaves, pushing stones over on the path. The music master scowls and pauses, unsure to laugh or reprimand, takes the harp from out the child's hand, strolls on forcefully, leaves them running up behind with snapping at the ankles and fear in the mind of all that dwells in the forest, or that had lay by the trail unknown when the child had first come that way. The things we hear as children, half understood, stay with us, misconstrued maybe. Giving rise to this sort of voice that appears in this next poem, The Harper. And this imagines a cave from which a voice, a scream comes. A scream of hurt or despair or lament. And the harper is there with their instrument in an effort to quieten that voice. And this is how the poem goes, Harper. Sat beside the cavern mouth, naked mostly, and knees drawn to his belly, he heard the voice lamenting, and because it was a hollow voice, it drew him in. He was a listening man, spent years perfecting silence, with a strong jaw, lion's jaw, to keep his teeth hidden and his voice thin. Only with his harp in his hand, strings tight and tuned, playing thick vibrations to the empty air, could he stop that cavern's roar, leaning both-legged into wind. And that for a time would keep the cave unchoked, halt for a time the slow and the fast descent of the noisome and distracted, drawn to the cave and disappearing. So many notes within the scream that called, only 6 strings on the harp, he could not match them all, unreached clamour pulling people from afar. One note, might he have played it once, or one chord to reverberate forever? A child sitting at his knee, learning how to play together. Because sometimes the call to art is a desire to stop those despairing voices, to raise up joyous ones, happy ones, to counter or transform the harsher voices. My last poem tonight is called Harper in the Morn. And if I remember rightly, I wrote it, or it came to me in that half world of just waking up, where sometimes it feels, because you've been dreaming, been sleeping, you've been in touch with that true vibration, untempered by daily life, unmuted by the cares of the day. And there might be a hope of keeping that sense of pure sound through the rest of the waking hours. Along with that sense of what is that, where is that? We do touch on it. We do wake sometimes, revived by it. And it's fair to ask, where does that come from? What is that thing? Without necessarily needing to answer it. But here we go. Me waking up in the morning, Harper in the Morn. Whence that harp string, passing through me in stillest morn, with a call to all suffering and truth, through the worn, just waking heaviness of flesh, waving through my arm untried today, through my unstretched ribs, fresh across my belly, sliding through my unclutched gut, through my thigh, and filling with vibration the soft pup, head raised, willing, but enfolded with the rest, the slack shoulders, the passive eyes, the punched and heavy breast. This pass of sound, embracive, throws a kink across the world, that cell by cell disjoints what came before, the fallen hurled to floor, and a new possibility anoints. Plucked again, the looming sound approaches, touches, ripples, rips, encroaches, throws around sensation over skin, nipples, and touches, all like a kiss planted as a growing dawn upon slow, neglected snow. Bliss awakening from ignorance to know that you, I, we are not alone. Whence that harp string? Where the harp? Who the harper thrown into what truth and suffering? Sound that passes through and touches every part. Speak these words, if they be true and sound any heartbreak, perhaps then they carry just a touch upon that same reverberating string, marry just enough meaning to the name. Echoes on the morn, a stroke of a finger on the sharp and hollow drawings born from the plucking of that genuine harp.